Today we are going to be rewriting equations and formulas. Rewriting an equation means taking the equation and rearranging it. So instead of the order that it's written, it's y equals something or some other letter equals something. So I don't believe your assignment actually says all these directions, but we're going to ignore this part. This is the part we're going to do. Solve for y and then substitute the value of x into the equation. Now, I do realize that we could plug x in right now and figure out what y is, but that doesn't help us in practicing how to rewrite an equation. So we need to practice solving an equation for y. Solving for y means get y on a side by itself. So our goal here, get my highlighter, is to get this term by itself because that's where the y is located. What would I do to get that term by itself? Subtract 5x. Attach the minus in front of the 7 to the 7. That is a negative 7y. So when you get rid of the 5x, you still have negative 7y equals. And I prefer to write my x term first, so negative 5x plus 21. What would we do next to get that?
Divide by negative 7.
Yep. And you can divide everything by negative 7, but it's honestly easier to divide each individual term by negative 7, because then you can simplify things a little bit easier. So y equals negative 5 over negative 7 is positive 5/7 x, and 21 divided by negative 7 is negative 3. That is our equation solved for y. Next, we need to substitute the value of x equals 1 in this case, and figure out what y equals. So 5/7 times 1 minus 3. You can use your calculator for this. If you have a scientific calculator, you have a fraction button. So 5 fraction button 7 times 1 minus 3, or since you're multiplying by 1, you don't even need to multiply it. And then change your answer back into a fraction. If you do not know how to change your answers into a fraction or how to use your fraction button, please let me know during work time. I would be happy to show you. What is the answer? Negative 16 over 7. Okay. Let's try number 2. Negative x equals 3y minus 24. This time, our y is on the right side. You want to make sure that you are not leaving one side of your equation with nothing on it. So sometimes drawing a line through the equal sign can be very helpful. You don't want to leave nothing on one side. We are going to add 24 on both sides. So we have, over here on the left, negative x plus 24 equals 3y. I kind of zigged with my line right there. We are trying to get the y by itself, so we need to divide everything by 3. If you want to keep it like this with the y on the right, that's fine. If you want to rewrite it with the y on the left, that's fine also. Y equals negative 1/3 x plus 8. And now we need to plug in x equals 9. So negative 1/3 times 9 is negative 3.
Yep.
Negative 3 plus 8? 5. Okay. Number 3 is a little bit confusing because there's multiple x's. The important thing to remember is that we are trying to get y by itself. So find the term that has y in it and get that term by itself. So we need to subtract 3x on both sides. So negative xy equals negative 3x plus 8. Ignore the fact that that's an x. Think about, you've got something multiplied in front of the y, you need to divide by that thing. So we're going to divide everything by negative x. I will show you another way to do this in a second. Okay, so we have y equals, in this first term, the negative and the negative cancel each other out, and the x's cancel each other out, so we just have 3. And it's not good to have a negative on the bottom, so this is minus 8 over x. All right, there are some people who like to do it this way. They divide the entire left side by x, and they divide the entire right side by x. This is fine. However, you do not want a negative on the bottom. So you need to apply that negative to everything on the top. This would become positive 3x minus 8 over x. Technically, this is not the simplest answer, but I would accept it. Now we need to plug in x equals 4. So take a minute and plug in x equals 4 and see what you get. Did you get y equals 1?
Yes.
All right. Next, we are going to actually solve formulas. We're going to rewrite formulas. So again, we've got some blanks to fill in. Number 5, we are going to solve for r squared. Number 6, we are going to solve for b sub 1. And number 7, we are going to solve for r. Solving for r squared means that we want to have r squared equals. So we want to get r squared by itself. First thing I would always do, if you see something like 1/3 in there, try to get rid of that 1/3. How do we get rid of times 1/3? Multiply by, close, 3. We're going to multiply both sides by 3. 3 times 1/3 is 1, so that neutralizes that 1/3. So we have 3v equals pi r squared h. Again, we are trying to get r squared by itself. R squared is being multiplied by pi and by h. It doesn't matter what order it is. If you wanted to rewrite this pi h r squared, you could. To get rid of the pi and the h, we divide by the pi and the h. The awesome thing about multiplication is that the order in which we multiply doesn't really matter. So we have, as our answer, I don't have a whole lot of room here, 3v over pi h equals r squared. All right, number 6 is one of my favorites, and I have seen this on an EOC test. I don't know about on the ACT, but I have definitely seen it on an EOC test. So, solve for b sub 1. b sub 1 simply means the first base. b sub 2 means the second base. The area of a trapezoid is 1/2 times the sum of the bases multiplied by the height. Not that it matters what the letters mean, because we're not doing a whole lot with the letters. So, first things first, we need to get rid of this 1/2. We're going to do that by multiplying by 2. So we have 2a, the 1/2 takes out the 2, parentheses, b sub 1 plus b sub 2, and then an h. Okay, this is written a little weird. We're used to seeing things that are multiplied in front of the parentheses. This h is after the parentheses, but it is being multiplied. Because we are trying to get b sub 1 by itself, b sub 8 is stuck inside the parentheses, so we first need to get the entire set of parentheses by themselves. So, to get rid of the h, we are going to divide both sides by h.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Okay, notice I didn't write the parentheses on this step. Now that the 1/2 is gone and the h is gone, the parentheses no longer have to be there. There's nothing multiplied in front, there's nothing multiplied after, so the parentheses aren't necessary anymore. Now we can finish getting b sub 1 by itself. How do you undo plus b sub 2? Subtract b sub 2. Now how does this look? 2a over h minus b sub 2 equals b sub 1. It's a little weird with that line through it. But when you're subtracting, you're doing that 2a over h and then minus b sub 2 equals b sub 1.